The time of year when movie critics publish their top 10 lists, and popping up on many of those lists is a surprise. Hairspray, the campy comedy by the underground writer-director John Waters. It wasn't so long ago that the mere mention of Waters' name would make critics and audiences roll their eyes in disgust. Waters made movies that were so outrageous, most theaters wouldn't dare show them before midnight. But with Hairspray, John Waters has burst into the mainstream, and as my colleague Stephen Schiff discovered, he's done it with his usual flair.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very funny man, Mr. John Waters.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Everybody I know said, God, you're going to the Virginia Military Institute. What are you going to do there? I mean, can you imagine Stanley Kubrick doing this?
Like Stanley Kubrick, John Waters is a famous and famously eccentric movie director.
Polyester Patty.
Polyester Patty.
But there the similarity ends. Waters doesn't make mega-budget prestige pictures. He makes ragged, noisy underground films. And those films have turned him into a cult celebrity all over America.
Hi, welcome back to the show here. We're just sitting around chatting with Mr. and Mrs. America. And this is John Waters, the motion picture director, producer, and divine. You were described as being the Prince of Sleaze.
No, I think the Prince of Puke. A lot of different...
Prince of Puke, or Prince of Sleaze, Waters' reputation is well earned. Take his casting decisions. 9 out of 10 of his movies have starred the enormous cross-dressing actor Divine, whom Waters discovered when they were both kids in Baltimore. Divine remained Waters' favorite actor until his untimely death a year ago.
I was born to be cheap!
The movies were born to be cheap, too. Most of them were X-rated for disgustingness, and we can show you only portions of them on television. You may not want to see more. This fairyland princess has just contracted an ugly case of rabies.
I got another surprise for you, Muffy.
This nasty-looking starlet has just had an even nastier-looking sex change operation. And this poor prisoner is being fed fresh roaches for dinner.
Oh, God, I hope I can do this.
All right, there we go.
Right.
John Waters has been making his weird movies for 24 years. His constant setting is his hometown of Baltimore, where for most of his life, he was too disreputable to be thought of as a favorite son. Now things are different. His first PG movie, Hairspray, has become a mainstream hit. And suddenly, John Waters is hot.
This man needs no introduction.
Even the mayor of Baltimore loves him.
He's a native son of Baltimore who has made Baltimore not only a household name, but has given us international fame with his most recent stellar success, the movie Hairspray. Ladies and gentlemen, John Waters.
Everybody says, oh, it's a John Waters movie. We're gonna have to leave our sensibilities at home and not sit too near the screen, and we're afraid we'll catch whatever it is they have. Mm-hmm. And this wasn't that calculated. I didn't set out to make a PG movie, but I was thrilled when it got one, because I knew it would be the opposite of what people would expect from a John Waters film.
What's beautiful to John Waters?
Originality is beautiful to me. When they don't look like anybody else, the people end up calling them an Anita Ekberg type, a Divine type.
Now everybody breathe. Right. Who wants to be famous? Who wants to die for art?
Waters is a keen observer of American culture, and he's realized that fame makes people appear beautiful. Most of his movies are about people who yearn to be famous, and in his most fascinating film, Female Trouble, Divine plays a rebellious schoolgirl who wants fame so much that she becomes a killer to achieve it.
Craving fame so badly that you want to get the electric chair because that's like the Academy Award. Basically, it is the only way you can become famous overnight, is to be a criminal. And real famous, hard news, not entertainment pages. But everybody does look better under arrest. I said that in my book. It is a good look.
What does that mean?
That if somebody's just walking down the street and they're average looking, and then you see them in handcuffs being put into a police car, it is a certain style to that look.
What is your interest in trials and criminals all about?
I can easily look up the paper and see something terrible happen, and in a way think, this is horrible. But if you just push it and push it a few steps, people will laugh. And that interests me, what can be horrible in real life. And magically, almost, you put it on a movie screen, and those same people that would be very appalled in real life roar at it on a movie screen. And I don't know the difference either. Why?
Don't know why?
No. But I'm fascinated by that. See how far you can push that.
Come on, let's twist again. What would you like some more?
He's come a long way from the days when he was making cheapo shock movies in his parents' backyard. In fact, Hairspray was such a big mainstream success that Hollywood is knocking on Waters' door, even though he will now have to write and direct without the inspiration of his favorite character, Divine. How did that persona get born?
The humor is a deadly weapon, and Divine personified it with me. He could say my words best. He could act out my aggressions, the things I liked, everything the best. And it also threatened people, which was the point.
Why did you want to threaten people?
When I was very young, we wanted to do the same thing as the Manson family, only I wanted to use film instead of weapons, which was a good career decision.
Indeed. Well, when you say that, when you say you wanted to do the same thing as the Manson family...
Scare the world.
Scare the world.
Yeah.
Or was it to become famous?
We always certainly respected fame and saw the ridiculousness of fame. That's why I love Jane Mansfield so much, because she made fame a joke. But I mean that as a compliment. I made Divine become like an inflated Jane Mansfield. It was very obvious to me that I was not going to fit into the world, that I was raised to fit in. And I think my parents realized it too, but they didn't know how to look up in the Dr. Spock book what to do if your kid wants to go and watch car accidents.
Waters' conservative Catholic parents were surprisingly supportive. They even helped pay for his early films. Then, in 1972, at the age of 25, Waters made his first full-length color movie. Pink Flamingos cost only $10,000, but it flabbergasted nearly everyone who saw it. It was a rude celebration of tackiness, bad taste, and outrage. And yet, it was also weirdly funny. Pink Flamingos quickly became an enormous hit on the midnight movie circuit. By 1981, Waters' Little Shocker had earned over 100 times what it cost.
You are no longer alive.
I mean, I always pick subjects that by themselves aren't funny, because I like nervous laughter. I like people to laugh and then maybe feel guilty they laughed even.
How do you do that?
I'm still trying to figure that out. That's my whole career.
Waters lives and writes alone in an apartment near the Baltimore Zoo, surrounded by macabre objects he's collected. An electric chair from one of his movies stands in his front hall, and a portrait of a mass murderess hangs above his fireplace.
So this is the famous Street of Charm where we filmed a lot of scenes.
Waters does a lot of his filming in his friends' neighborhoods in Baltimore.
In Female Trouble, this is where Edith lived, and this is where Divine lived, and they were arch enemies. Also in Female Trouble up here is a scene I like where Divine gets knocked out by her boyfriend when they're having a fight. And also Edith runs over here and throws acid in her face, too.
The hilariously tasteless look of Waters' films is the result of his longtime collaboration with art director Vincent Peranio.
But the nice thing doing sets for John that's different from doing sets for other people is that I can compete with the actors. Usually sets have to stay in the background, but we have such outrageous characters all the time that they need outrageous sets. So I can make them as bright and crazy as I want, and it all kind of meshes together.
What is good bad taste? In other words, bad taste that you both admire.
Interesting, humorous.
Yeah, with a little bit of wit, and it makes you laugh.
Boring bad taste is as boring good taste.
Basically, I'm trying to get you to delight that there is this kind of taste in the first place. So you can't have good bad taste if you really look down on your subject. You have to love it and be repelled by it at the same time, which I think both of us are. We think, oh, that is so hideous, it's great.
I'm going to go sink into a long, hot beauty bath now and try to erase the stink of a 5-year marriage.
Your movies are always sort of telling us, I'm only a movie. Things are done in a sort of broad, slapsticky way. If someone is being smothered to death by a 400-pound woman, you don't really believe that it doesn't look realistic.
No.
Is that part of what you need in order to turn the shock into laughter?
Yeah, because I'm against real violence. I hate real violence, but fake violence I love.
Is America less shockable now?
Yeah, there are fewer taboos, because Hollywood's co-opted it all. Hollywood makes shocking movies now. So there's no taboos left to break. So once you've broken all the taboos, then you have to refine it to get laughter and a sense of humor.
So it would be almost impossible to be an underground filmmaker the way you were more or less an underground filmmaker.
No. I've seen little films that come from hell. And I respect them.
Is there an audience for them?
If a movie is crazy and good enough and it comes like a bat out of hell from somewhere, there's always a way that people are going to see it, because that's what people want to see. They're seeking something like nothing that they've ever seen before. And I hope somewhere in America right now some 18-year-old's making a little shocker that I can't wait to see.